Okay, so I know that I've said that training for strength at home is possible and you really don't need any equipment, so we're gonna start with that. Here's how we get started. You're gonna work on calisthenics or body weight exercises. Really doesn't take any equipment, but like I said, I like my yoga mat out to give me a designated workspace. The first workout that I want you to master is to do my warm-up, which is my morning mobility routine, right? So do that before you do this. And then you're gonna do 100 push-ups and 100 body weight squats. We can break them up into as many sets and reps as we need to, but let's talk about the actual form on the exercises. The first thing people usually say is, oh, what if you can't do a full push-up? That's okay. You can always work your push-ups on your knees. First of all, let's talk about hand placement. You want your hands to be not facing like where your middle finger is facing straight up and down, just slightly inward, so that more like your ring finger is pointing straight ahead. Cocks out, that allows for that elbow to flow back at an angle, like a 45-degree angle from your chest. It's not straight out here like this, and it's not tucked in under here like yogis do, chaturanga, with those elbows way back here. It's kind of right in the middle of it. And then you want to make sure that your chest is over the hands and the feet, not your shoulders, right? It's not, a push-up should not be that. A push-up is this. You want your nipples to come down right towards your thumbs, is how I would think about it. You lower as one, you raise as one. If you can't do that, you get off your feet onto your knees and you do the same thing. You're gonna work on, first off, shoot for sets of 10. If you're on your knees, say, okay, I can do sets of 10. Great, 10 sets of 10. Once you start getting a little strength and you're like, I can do a few of these off of my knees, then great. Do 2 on your feet. And then when you fatigue, drop down to your knees and finish the rest. Slowly you get your way up to where you can do 10 off the ground full push-ups. Great. Then start working up to sets of 20 or more. I like to do 5 sets of 20, and then I jump up and do my squats, and then I go back and forth, right? Sets of 20 until I get to 100. Let's talk about the squat exercise first. Same thing. You don't really want your feet straight ahead at you. They're going to be slightly angled out to give your body room to get in here between these legs. So hips, feet just a little wider than the hips, toes just slightly turned out. As much as you can, you want to keep the chest and the ears up and back. Ears, shoulders, hips, right? In theory, all of that really stays in the same plane. Usually hip mobility limitations will throw that spine forward at some point deep in the squat, but that's what you're looking for. The butt drops back. The shoulders drop straight down to the hips, and the chest and the head stay upright as much as you can. It's a push-up for the legs. It's the same thing. Those 2 pushing exercises. You get really good at those. You do them 3 days a week. Let's say 3 days a week you do that. Get really good at that. You do 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats. You do the warm-up. You do that 3 days a week. The other 3 days of the week, you're doing the Peloton, you're running, you're swimming, you're doing some other cardio. If you do just that, plus get your 10,000 steps every day, in 3 months, you'll be unrecognizable. I promise you. But that's going to be pretty limited, and eventually you'll get bored. So let's add a few more exercises to it. The first one that I like, if you want to do something else, it's called plank dogs. So after I do my push-ups, you're in this position. From right there, you just send your hips up and back into a downward facing dog from plank, and then you come back. And right here, you have to stop. You don't want to drop that. It's not a Jane Fonda pelvic thrust workout. You want to drop it and stop it. You want to get into plank position. And then as you shift those hips back, you get a nice little release in the mid back. It's a great shoulder strengthener, core strengthener, and a really nice way to open up that mid back for guys. As I said before, we big guys, we tend to kind of get rounded forward. That's a great way to get those shoulders back and open up that spine in that direction. The next one I would do is dips. Dips are an amazing exercise. You just need a little bench or something like this. Bring your hands down next to your hips, walk out, drop that booty down, and then press it back up. This is a pretty easy way to do it. Everybody's got a chair at home. I've got a better way to do it that I'll show you in a minute, but same thing with both of these exercises. Start with sets of 10, get good at it, build some strength, work up to sets of 20. Once you start adding in, let's say you're doing 100 reps a day of those 4 exercises, really good. Now, let's say in 3 to 6 months, you're really good at it. Maybe now you can do that and that in the same day. And maybe now you're getting 5 of these and 5 of those, and you're really mixing up now you're talking about jet fuel. Now you're in a whole other dimension, because by then your diet's going to be totally different too. There are a few more exercises I want to show you, but the piece of equipment that you need for that is outside. So I'll meet you out there and we'll see them. Okay, this is the next piece of equipment that you're going to need to pick up. I love these. You get them on Amazon. There's a million different varieties. They're not very expensive. They're not actually that big. We sort of tuck ours in here underneath these stairs, and it's great because like the office is upstairs. So every time we come around to the stairs, I say, well, let me just do something and jump on this thing real quick. The first thing I would suggest that you do on this is called dead hangs. You see, you got lots of different options here on different ways to grab this thing. When I'm working on my hangs, I actually like this neutral grip where my hands can be straight like this. And I love to just get here and let my spine decompress and my shoulders extend and really get a nice stretch through all my arms and my upper body. Shooting for, you want to be able to do this for 60 seconds. Start with 30 seconds and then work your way up from there. I do work all of the different grips when I'm hanging. I try to do hangs throughout my day, not just when I'm doing workouts. So it's not really an exercise I would add to that. You can, but it's something that I would definitely add to my life and to my lifestyle. Pull-ups and chin-ups though are, we're going to work, these are super like pulling exercises to counterbalance all of the pushing exercises that we were doing in there with the other calisthenics. So mostly what I practice are these wide gripped, what we call like a classic pull-up. And you can do them regular. What I like about this one is if you're having trouble, you can put these feet right here and give yourself just a little boost and kind of catch yourself and have that take a tiny bit of pressure off so that you can work on developing enough strength so that you can do the actual pull-up. Then chin-ups. I usually work this one. I feel like it's a better lat and just overall back pull activator, but the chin-ups will get a little extra arm activation. So on days that I'm working arms, or I just want to get a nice big bicep pump, I'll pull around and do that. Next thing I would say on this is the best place to do your dips. I know on the chair in there was fine. It's a right, like we were doing it here, fine. But you see how my arms are turned this way? I'd like to turn my hands this way and press here. Same thing, put your feet here if you need to take just a little pressure off when you're way down there at the bottom of the pressure on the range of joint movement. That's okay. But this is such a nice, for about $100, this thing tucks away back here where no one ever sees it. And I get to add all of those exercises to all of my stuff that I'm doing at home with just body weight. So remember, none of this body weight stuff is sexy or complicated. It's up to you to be consistent with it. But if you are consistent with it, you can actually get very fit just by applying your own body weight and using it as resistance. Others, I would always say, grab calf raises whenever you can. Right, I'm just holding myself here so that I can really get my calves going. That's always good. Anytime you take the stairs, if you're standing around next to a curb, get some calf raises. You can do those throughout the day. Super, super good for you. And also, if you get tired of the squats, there's all the lunge variations that you can do as well. So mix it up any way you can. But there's a lot of exercises there that you can do with your body weight. And if you do them consistently, I promise you, in the next few months, you'll see it.